Welcome back. The classic brand Tupperware is expanding its reach. Consumers are now able to find its products at Target locations nationwide. Miguel Fernandez, Tupperware CEO, joins us now, along with Yahoo Finance's Brooke De Palma. So welcome, Miguel. We know this isn't Tupperware's first collaboration with Target. You had one in 2002. But what's different about this time? And really, what are you hoping to achieve with this omni-channel approach?
Okay, so happy to be here with you. And as you said, we tried Target or the Target approach about 20 years ago. Obviously a lot of things have changed in the last 20 years. And the most important one is that this time around, we're going to let each channel to operate independently. What we tried to do 20 years ago was to involve our sales force within the Target stores and have them help with the experience of buying in Target. We know that doesn't really, work with consumers, because if you're walking down the aisle, what you want is your shopping experience being like a normal shopping retail experience, and not have anyone or someone coming and trying to recruit you or selling more products and so on. So this time around, we are letting the channels operate by themselves, and obviously the whole omni-channel strategy is the strategy of the company. About a couple of years ago, we identified that the biggest hurdle that we have to grow our business as big as our brand, which, as you know, is huge and it's iconic, is that the consumers don't have access to our products. So we want to be where the shoppers go and prefer to shop. In this case, in the US, we know there's a lot of consumers that shop on retail, and there's some other ones that go on e-commerce, and there's still some in direct selling. Now we're trying to start expanding our channels of distribution, and that's the whole strategy of the company.
And speaking of that direct sales consumer, of course, a 76-year-old brand known for those Tupperware parties, but you noted in your LinkedIn post acknowledging that younger customers are less familiar with direct sales. So my question for you is, can we expect those Tupperware parties to be around for another 76 years? And how do those play into your long-term growth?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about it, in Target, we're going with only 25 SKUs, and we carry on every single month over 200 SKUs. So our direct selling of the channel and our Tupperware parties are going to continue to be there. So are they going to change? Are they going to evolve? I think they will, because obviously we have technology and people can actually interact and have a lot of information and sharing, even product demonstrations through a video, as we're having this interview, and you don't really have to have that physical presence. Same with our parties. What we're seeing in many of our developed countries are more and more parties, what we call e-parties, which is people that host, consumers, and they have these communities around the screen. So a combination of both. One of the things of our company is that we want to make a Tupperware for everyone. So if you want to be the traditional Tupperware parties and you want to meet your customers and organize it physically, that's going to be an option for you. If you want to go and organize a virtual party, you can do it also. And if you're a shopper, you want to do it on e-commerce, you can also do it, or retail, whatever suits you.
And on that note of the history of the brand, Tupperware brand was originally founded in order to help families save money on food waste following the Great Depression. Now, in 2022, costly food also in focus here, groceries up 13.5% in the month of August. Do you think that mission to help customers save money on food waste still sticks today?
Very relevant, very relevant. Last month, I was reading this article that stated that 10% of the meals consumed in the U.S. this last year were from leftovers. So that means that, consumers, every 10 times they have, a meal, pretty much every 3 days, they're eating from the leftovers that most likely they were obviously stored in a Tupperware container.
And we know that a lot has changed in terms of how people store food, but then we also saw the vintage collection come out and the product placement in the hit TV show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Talk about how you're reaching consumers where they are now and how you really want them to view the brand, since there are some of these cheaper options out there as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, our brand has always stand for quality. And the test to that is that, those products we were selling probably 40, 50 years ago, obviously there's an update in the resins, but not in the design of the product. And it's still very relevant. When we put it, out in the market, they just flew because, everyone wanted the product. But to me, the most important thing about the brand is that, let's face it, it was a little bit dated. And it was dated because we were reaching just certain amount of consumers. what we're trying to do right now is to gain brand relevance and to be where the new consumers are, where the new people are, and wherever they are. And that's something that we have to be intentional about. Because if you think about it, it's very simple to say that now Tupperware is going to be selling some of the products in Target. But if you think about it, we need to bring the skill sets. We need to build a company within the company to make sure that we serve the targets of this world better, meaning in supply chain, systems, the way we put the product, the labels, the boxes, the packaging, everything is different from one channel to another one. So for us, that transformation of the brand starts with even the back office functions, which is what we've been trying to build, or we've been building the last 2 years, and to get us ready for this moment. For us, it's very, very important that we come across as that brand that is a premium brand, but it was a brand that offered products and innovation 76 years ago, and the products lasted and through all these generations. And the proof of that is that every single person in America has a story about a Tupperware container and how mothers and daughters are fighting over them. And, the leftovers are important, but I really want my Tupperware container back because this is my treasure. And since we knew that there were so many people fighting over those vintage collections, so, obviously taking advantage of the Netflix show and everything that happened, we relaunched it. And obviously we saw a lot of success with those products.
And I speak to that. I don't play when it comes to getting my Tupperware back either. But I do want to ask you about what we're seeing. Obviously, the stock has been under pressure, even as you look over the last 2 years with the pandemic, down about 70% over those 2 years. Where do you see the next part of Tupperware's growth story coming from? Where do you hope it goes from here?
So absolutely. So, obviously the stock is a reflection of a continuous performance of the company. We had, as we mentioned in our earnings calls, we had some external headwinds, mostly coming from overseas, Europe and China, different factors, mostly around COVID and China locking down and things like that. But the growth opportunity, we see it pretty much everywhere where our consumers know our brand, they love our products, so they've seen our products, they really want the products, but they have no access to it. So we are, obviously we're building, again, a company within a company, but more and more you're going to see our products in more of the traditional channels. And we're going to be, again, where the consumers shop. In some parts of the world, like Latin America and some parts of Asia, direct selling is a very relevant channel. And we're going to be investing 99% of our resources into making our core business, which is direct selling, even better and better in those countries. In some other countries like Western Europe or the US, we understand that consumers moved, or some of the consumers moved from direct selling into e-commerce or retail. And that's where we want to be. Once we start, competing like any other consumer brand in the shelves or in the screen of the major retailers, then we're going to be considered like any other CPG company. And our performance is going to be judged by our performance of the numbers. And if we are able to achieve great products with great quality that consumers love, and they're willing to pay the prices that we believe our products are worth, and it's just going to be a normal company. So the dip that we're seeing, we think it's part of our turnaround. It's temporary because we're still making a lot of changes. We're not there yet, but we're in the process.
Gotcha.
This step with Target is a big step for us, obviously.
Indeed. Looking forward to seeing it in our local Targets. A big thank you to Miguel Fernandez, Tupperware CEO, and Yahoo Finance's Brooke De Palma. Thank you both.